Hello, everyone, and how are you? My name is Tara Elzingre. If this is your first time coming to one of the tech control rooms, I am delighted to have you here. I'm going to kick off. We're already starting to record, and I'll just keep an eye on people coming in. This is the Train AI to Sound Like You. It is part of our tech control room series that I'm running every Wednesday at 12. And I'm really looking forward to this session. I think it's something that is super important for people who are starting to use AI more and just trying to get the most out of it. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Tara Elzingre. I'm an AI strategist and digital tool trainer. I'm a qualified purple person, and that means I take my business acumen and my tech know how and translate that to help you use AI better within your business. I've delivered training for over 2,000 people this year alone, and most of my one to one clients get results within 30 days. Now, what I'm hoping for you to get out of this session, we really, I guess, starting to understand more and more how AI is starting to sound, more like a robot, and we really don't want that to happen. You want AI to sound like you, no matter whether it's text, it's video, it's images that you're generating, or even voiceovers. So we're going to walk through all those different settings. If you haven't come across this phrase before, but it's my think, talk, train method, and it is something that I use to help people to understand how they can use AI in a more effective way. It's not like having a conversation with a human, and yet we do treat it like that. There are some nuances and context that we need to be able to explain while using the and speaking with AI as well. So think like a CEO. Means don't give over your critical thinking to AI. As brilliant as it is, we really want to make sure that the AI is not making decisions on our business or to our customers that we haven't had a input into it. And you might have heard of the phrase human in the loop. Well, I prefer the term expert in the loop because you wouldn't have your IT guy running your marketing campaign. So it is important that you have the expertise in the area that you need it as well. And then talk to it like an intern. AI is absolutely brilliant, but we need to remember that AI has all this knowledge, it has trillions of lines of data, but it doesn't have any world experience. And, it's just fresh out of college, essentially. It's gotten a lot of fantastic training, but now doesn't have that world context yet. And that's what we need to give it. And that's what we're going to be going through today when we're trying to train AI to sound like us. And then train it like a team, whether you are looking to create better images for your campaigns, whether you are starting to use different videos, and we're going to look at some tools that you have. And I have a fantastic guide to give you after the session as well. I'll be sending it on with the recording. But when you're training it like a team, think about how you would set up your team. You wouldn't hire a team of 20 or 50 right at the bat. You might start with a smaller team of generalized marketing experts, finance experts in different areas, and then maybe build out the teams from there. So train it like you would a team and breaking down those tasks for each and every segment of your business as well. So why does this matter? Using the Turnitin AI detection tool, a study found that it identified 91% of experimental submissions containing some AI generated content, yet only 54.8% of the content was actually flagged. So there's a lot that is slipping through the cracks. We're definitely starting to see that there's a lot more AI content out there that's starting to sound more human. But I think we all know and have examples of where it comes across as robotic. And we're really good for taking out the hyphens, etc., when we're using ChatGPT. And for those who maybe came to last week's where we were talking about the compliance side of things and where you may get into trouble with this. But customers are spotting that fakeness. We really do want to help you to sound more like you, whether it is in text, whether it is in video, or whether it is in image or voice. And this is where you're going to build up that know, like, and trust factor with your clients as well. We, I suppose, identify that what we like about a person based on certain things, and we're going to be going through that in a minute now as well. But basically, the tone, the rhythm, the phrasing, and the movement. And there's some really quick tips and tricks you can do when you're prompting your AI to make sure that this is coming through, no matter what format you're looking for in the output. So the human factor, AI can't fake it yet. And why I say yet, obviously there are things that are being, I guess, implemented in AI on a daily basis. We're getting almost bombarded on a daily basis with new features that are coming into it. And there are certainly people who are looking to improve the emotional intelligence of AI. There are people who are looking to improve the movements of AI. I don't know if you have noticed this, but when it comes to the video, one of the things that people know spot most often that tells them it's an AI generated image, there's a little light that comes into our eyes that's really hard for them to replicate. And this is one of the first signs to us as humans, even if it's something that we don't, I suppose, consciously are aware of it happening, but it tells us that it's not actually a human. So the AI is struggling to catch up with all of that, but that doesn't mean that we can't get it most of the way there with better prompting. So what kind of things do you want to try and bring into this, and why? So ads that evoke stronger emotional responses can lead to a 23% increase in sales. In a recent study, anchoring bias was shown to persist even in the state-of-the-art language models. They remain unduly influenced by the first piece of information presented. Now, this is almost a two-way system where it's potentially coming into bias. There's our way of phrasing things that are, I suppose, affecting the input, and then it's how the LLMs are particularly trained that is affecting the outputs as well. So we really do want to make sure that we're checking out that bias, but also, I suppose, making sure that we are inputting something that is really strong and reflects well with our audience as well. So certain things that you might want to consider when you are trying to train your AI to sound like you. Emotional pacing. Now, the rhythm of your words carries as much weight as the words themselves. Short bursts create urgency, while longer flowing sentences add calmness and reassurance. I do apologize, my throat seems to be a little bit shaky today. But AI trained on your natural pacing will sound more human and persuasive. So even if you are practicing yourself, if you're doing a webinar like this, or you are talking to somebody, start taking notice of the emotional pacing that you do within conversations. Notice how your customers are potentially doing it within their posts as well. And start to actually gather some evidence of this happening so that you can start using this in AI as well. Think about TEDx talks or YouTube clips of others that you have seen, and start to notice that the pacing that's potentially coming onto that, and how can you input this into your prompt to make it stronger. Belief and conviction. People don't just buy what you say, they buy how much you mean it. So strong, certain language builds confidence and trust. And this is something that AI can potentially skip quite often as well. And this is where that training part really does come into it, where maybe we need to offer some forms of examples within our writing as well. This is how I know it works because my client did this, and prompting the AI to include this as well, and feeding those examples that you potentially have into the AI so that it can make it stronger as well, and really starting to build out a content base for yourself of different examples that you can feed into the AI. And just remember that your AI is maybe the companion that comes with you into certain meetings, etc., that is potentially taking notes, but it's not living your experience. So how are you feeding that experience back into it? How can you show your expertise and allow your customers to find that belief and conviction within what you're saying, no matter what medium you're using afterwards? Now, micro-quirks. It's the tiny things that make your voice unmistakable, the odd pause, a trademark phrase, or even your choice of emojis that signal authenticity. We all do it. There might be a like at the end of the sentence.
Most of the ones we use.
There might be a like at the end of the sentence. There might be a phrase that you normally use. And this can actually be a bit jarring when you start to try and notice some of these things, because maybe you start noticing your quirks and start to try to filter them out. But we can see that these are starting to come in more and more as well when we're using AI. And even if you talk to ChatGPT or something like that, it might have some of these micro quirks already embedded into it because it's starting to learn from you. But leaning into this, how can you expand upon it further? If you were at the Network Ireland conference on Friday, we had the fantastic opportunity to see Keith Barry and his brain hacking. And I actually added in this fourth one based on talking to him, and it's brain cues. Now, it's definitely something you may not think about when you're thinking about how you talk to AI and get it to think like you and to speak like you. But what kind of subtle cues guide attention and influence buying signals? Are you anchoring it? Imagine this outcome: strategic phrasing and gentle suggestion that can nudge decisions without force. And he actually mentioned three different types as well, that maybe they're visual, maybe they're more auditory, or maybe they're more tactile, So what different ways could you potentially bring this into your writing and into your prompts when you're speaking with AI to help feed that experience a bit more and to give a bit more depth to your text, to give more depth to your videos and even to your imagery? So what sort of things can you do to essentially expand on this out a little bit more? There are ways that, again, I suppose, anchor at the phrasing, and it goes beyond the words that you're using in itself. If you have any questions on any of this, please do let me know, and we will have some time for questions and answers at the end. And as I mentioned before, I know a few people came in a little bit late, but I will be sending on a guide with this recording after the session as well. So just again, before we kind of get into the specific video, I'm going to look at video, I'm going to look at imagery, and I'm going to look at text as well. So just showing you the text, because this is potentially where you're starting from more often or not, but whether you are using your own voice to get it to write text, or if you are typing in prompts, that prompt, if it's garbage in, it's garbage out. So you really do need to be careful about what kind of things that you're putting into that prompt. I highly recommend you creating some form of a brand guide and start to understand your own style of writing. So one thing that I have, I suppose, saved to the memory of my ChatGPT as well as Gemini is by saying I use Irish colloquial language. And it just takes out that kind of Americanism that tends to be embedded in it, and give a turn of phrase that it's not always 100% accurate. I wouldn't use all of it. And again, for 4 million people, we have a certain amount of accents and definitely different quirks within every region as well. So it does take some finessing after that. But, again, how can we get it, think like a CEO ourselves? What is it about ourselves? What are those quirks? What is that personality that I want to have shine through? And how can I translate that to my AI? So when you are looking to train AI in text, you need to define the goal of what it is that you're looking to do. So whether you are producing a caption for Instagram, or writing a blog, or writing an email, you need to define the goal for ChatGPT or any other LLM or any AI that you are potentially using as well. What is the goal for the piece of writing that you're looking for? Starting from there, what call to action are you looking for? Do you want it to be nurturing? Do you want it to be educative? Do you want statistics included in it? Do you want it to be funny, or an edutainment piece as well? So defining that goal and making it very clear as to what it is that you want. Now, when you're talking to it, we want to give examples from it. If you aren't aware of the term few-shot prompting, you can check back on my prompting webinar as well. That's on my website. But it's basically where we walk you through how to prompt properly. But giving examples is one of the fastest ways to do this. This can be examples of DMs you've sent yourself, emails you've sent yourself, captions that you have written before, and feeding this back in. Now, if you are worried again about the compliance issue on this and what it is that you're using to train, please do ask me about those safety and security features. I'm more than happy to walk through them with you. But there's ways of you taking out any business sensitive information as well. But you can also use examples from things that you like, that you've seen on the internet as well, maybe from competitors, or maybe from someone that you admire, and different celebrities and things like that, and build out your own style from that as well. But the more examples you can feed from it, and when it does get it right, a good idea for this is kind of saying, I like the style of this, can you save this style as my default style? And it will save it to the memory. So feeding it in the examples in itself, but then moving into that training, that's too formal. I prefer shorter sentences. I keep my colloquialisms Making sure to keep those quirks into it. If you have potentially written something with an S that it wants to go to a Z, making sure you explain why you're using that S into it so that it brings that into its memory, and the next time you use it, it will do that faster for you and it gets quicker with it. AI is not something that is an overnight success. It does take that training. It does take time and effort into it. As I've already mentioned about building out a potential brand guide for yourself, a content library. It's about collecting that information for yourself and understanding how to use it so that you can build out a system where your AI sounds more like you, just like you would train up anyone else in your team as well. You would give them an onboarding guide. You would sit with them for the first 3 to 6 months and make sure that they are speaking in the company terms. Even if you know that they speak eloquently themselves, you want them to use your terminology, your mannerisms, and things like that. So making sure that you are, I suppose, treating AI like this as well. I use a thing what I call SASA style, and this is I have trained my AI to essentially understand a few different people of influence that I like how they speak as well as my own. And anytime that I say something like, "Will you write this in the SASA style?" my AI now writes it in that way for me because it understands what I mean like that because I've trained it that well. And this is now a shorthand that I can use to make sure that it's written in that style for me. So the next we're going to move on to is training AI in voice. And I've got a few different tips here for you as well. But why does voice matter? People buy from voices they trust. We want some cadence, we want some warmth, we want some rhythm. So again, it's a process. It is going to take some time for you to train it, and whether or not you have used certain tools or if it's of interest to you, it's always something that I recommend trialing out and seeing if it is something that you potentially could be comfortable with. It can make your life much easier in the long run, but it does take some time. But the technology as well is only getting better. So starting at it today, in a few months' time, it could be really, really impactful for you and for your business. Start collecting your raw voice. And again, if you don't record yourself quite often and if you don't put it up on social media, that's no problem. You can also just do it yourself at home and upload it if you're comfortable with doing that. But give it 3 to 5 examples of your natural writing as well, emails, captions, text, or DMs that you're potentially sending to clients. Record 30 to 60-second videos of yourself speaking. This can be in voice note format, Zoom clip, podcast. You can also do screenshots of emojis or signature phrases that you say. What we want the AI to do is start spotting the pattern. And this is going to help if you understand those patterns as well, that you say these certain things, or maybe you move your hands in a certain way when you say certain phrases. Is the tone warm? Is it a bit cheeky? Is it professional? Or are you a straight talker? Another really good tip with this as well is to count how many words per second you say. So on average, a person speaks 3 words per second. Now, an AI is not going to know that. It is very hard for AI to be trained on voice and video at the moment, considering the way that the software works. It is obviously getting better, as I said, on every day, but that's a really good baseline. So count how many words per second that you say so that you can start pacing it a bit better for yourself as well. What phrases do you potentially use when you're certain or want to add in some conviction? This works, let's go. Is this something that you say, or does it sound, again, too American when you're living in Ireland, or does it sound too English when you're living in Ireland? Do you want it to sound more Northern Irish? But start building out your tone grid. Maybe certain things work for different situations, depending on where you are as well. If you're looking to add some entertainment, maybe you want it to be a bit more formal or casual. Maybe if you are looking for people to purchase and it's more of a sales pitch, you want to be more concise and more, I suppose, call to action expressions towards the end of it. And then start creating your expression library. I know it sounds like a lot of work, but once you get into it, and again, I'm sending across that guide after it as well, it really doesn't take a whole lot long once you have it built up for yourself. And it is something then that you can easily copy and paste into a new AI if you're using a new one. But if you have that brand guide and if you have all of this created for it, it can be sitting there on a PDF that you can input into the back of a personalized ChatGPT, or even just into the memory of your overall GPT or Gemini. It works for all of them. And you can just share that PDF and say, when I am selling, I want to sound like this. When I'm entertaining, I want to sound like this. And so that AI has all of that data on you essentially, and can start to use it accordingly, and knows where to go from it, and doesn't so that you don't have to keep fixing it each and every time. Making a running list of things like your go-to phrases, any emojis that you use, words you never use, call to action styles you prefer, and then again writing your prompts with all of those kind of quirks in mind as well. Especially things like, certain times I notice that AIs tend to write in very long sentences, so I tell it to write in shorter sentences. But making sure to train it as well. If you notice that something is incorrect, or it doesn't sound like you, or doesn't refer back to that guide, making sure you say that, can you please refer back to the guide here? This wasn't done right. Can we save it to memory that I want it this way? And it now automatically saves it to memory for you like that. And you can expand this then across all mediums. So training AI in memory, there's again 3 steps to this. We've already kind of looked at certain things that you can do to build out that brand guide. And here are things that I do recommend. And again, it's good practice for any marketing, for any for business to have a stylized way to help embed that consistency for customers when they come to your page, that they're going to expect certain color palettes. And it's not that you have to use this color absolutely everywhere, but it helps to, I suppose, add up those buying signals to people, that they know they like you and they trust you because they've seen all of these before. So if you're building out that visual style map with your style board, maybe you can have certain typography into it. Maybe you can have a certain color palette into it. You can collect different images and icons that you already have. And again, the different aspects of it, as you can see here from the 2 examples that I've shared, there's I suppose kind of those futuristic buildings in the background. How can we bring that in, even though they're not the similar tones? There's still some consistency with it there. Are you using images that you've already created before and feeding these back into the AI and saying, I really like this image, but I want something that is completely different, with the same style or with the same color palette within it as well, with the same textures or different textures into it as well. We can also see that words are actually becoming much more clear with it as well. If you haven't had a chance to check out Google's AI Studio, it has really come a long way. The Nano Banana is definitely worth checking out. There's some really good images into it, and you can even use it to blend images now as well, like I have on the image on the left here. So what kind of words would describe those images for you as well? And this is where you might even want to get out the thesaurus and start thinking a little bit outside the box to help create those images as well. Like, how are you breaking down this image? How are you describing it? There's no such thing as too much detail. And a really good pro tip that I always recommend is actually getting the AI to create the prompt for you. And what I mean by this is essentially just asking, again, I'm going to use ChatGPT, but it works for any other LLM as well. I want to create an image. Can you create this prompt for Canva? Can you create this prompt for ChatGPT? Can you create it for Grok or Google AI Studio? Tell it what LLM you're going to do it, because they all have slightly different rules on how that prompt should be fed into them. It doesn't matter too much, but if giving it the LLM is going to work on will just help to fix that for you. And tell it what you want it to build out, and get it to create the prompt before you put into it. AIs are definitely better prompt engineers than we are. And at least then you can see the visual one, all the words written out on how they intend on building it out. So if there's anything that needs to be corrected, it can be done before generating the image, which tends to take a few seconds longer than actual words itself. But it gives a lot more detail. And if you have fed in that brand guide, it can do it specifically in your tone and specifically in your colors as well. So building out that brand guide for yourself and asking the LLM to build out that prompt for you. So the buying signals that we're looking out for, again, consistency, scarcity, curiosity, and the know, like, and trust factor. How are you building this into AI and helping AI to understand that these elements need to be brought into it as well? And again, if you're using just general chats within Gemini or ChatGPT and you haven't trained it in itself to be a business persona, for want of a better term, then it is going to potentially be speaking to everybody. And if you're speaking to everybody, you're speaking to nobody. So how do we build in these buying signals when we are prompting AI again, to make sure that there's that consistency there, to make sure that we're building out these systems, and again, to save you time in the long run as well. So building these in from the get-go is just going to make it more impactful and clearer for you as well. So repeating the same phrases builds a trust anchor your audience comes to rely on. Scarcity, a time-limited call to action, creates urgency and nudges faster decisions. And even just using these words like consistency, scarcity, and curiosity, and telling the AI that you want to build this into the captions will really help to support this as well. But it is about telling the AI that this is what you're looking for in whatever caption that you're using for as well. Making sure to add in some curiosity, breaking the expected pattern sparks intrigue and makes people pay closer attention. How are you building out that know, like, and trust factor? People buy from those they feel familiar with, connected to, and confident in. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to ask the AI to build up that trust for you, no matter what medium that you're using? So always some examples that you can use to put into the prompt, or save it to the memory again. Always end with one consistent call to action phrase. Write in 3 beats so you can create an open loop, intrigue, and close. And even sharing that with the AI, I want you to open the loop with a creative hook that's going to add the consistency by entering in my turn of phrase. I want you to show some scarcity that's going to build up intrigue with them, and show them that this is something that they should be curious about, and close it out with a call to action that's something that they know that they can trust in. So how do you vary the rhythm? Can you do short punchy lines? Can you do longer explanations and then a short punchy line again, just to help vary out that rhythm? And again, looking at the different formats that we want in video as well, or want in text as well. I think there was someone who told me recently enough that our attention span is now officially worse than a fish. So how are we hooking people in right from the get-go with these, and making sure to, I suppose, train AI that this is the way that people are thinking as well, and remembering that we are the expert in the loop, we are the expert about our customers as well, and about their buying signals. We know what works, and we need to be the ones to train the AI to do this for us as well. So building your AI team with the think, talk, train method, as I have mentioned at the start as well, to set the goal, assume that it has no experience, and grow the task slowly. And at the end of it, what you could potentially have is a text writer, a voice cloner, a designer, and a video producer. And having 4 of those, whether it is personalized ChatGPTs, or you use different LLMs for each and every one of them, they're all going to have a different set of guidelines for them, even if they are crossed over. But narrowing it down per task like this allows you to train it more deeply, and allows it to become more and more reflective of you and how you sound in each and every one of them as well. So while there can be some crossover while it's good to share examples for each and every one of them, think about training the different conversations. And if you're opening up a new chat each and every time you go into it, you're potentially wasting your time by not saving things into the memory in the background. That could be training the AI to sound better like you. So most people teach AI to copy templates. The smart business owner train it to copy themselves. And as I mentioned before, I am going to send across a guide after this as well. But since we are now officially at the end of the time, I just want to say a huge thank you for being here today and for those who have continued to come to the TEC Control Room on a weekly basis. I do have my 3-hour workshop tomorrow, which is on AI and automation for admin. We're going to go through some of the agents and different workflows that you could potentially build out to help with things like emails, CRMs, as well as your calendars to help show you how you can move beyond just a ChatGPT chat. So if you have any questions about that, please do let me know. And if you have any questions that you'd like to ask me now, either put them into the chat or feel free to turn on your camera as well.
Tara, that was brilliant.